Hi everybody, it's Gail from Gail's Bookish Things, back again finally. So I wanted to share with you a currently inked. I have my inks off to the side here, and I have a list of the pens that are currently inked, a few extra, and I wanted to maybe do a fresh little swatching on the Endless Regalia. And here I have a piece of Cosmo Airlight that's just taped in for comparison purposes on the swatching. I couldn't find my samples of B7 Natural. Cosmo Airlight is similar, so I thought just having this here would work well. First off, I have my Wherever starter pen. This is from Myra, and she was so kind to send me what's called a beginner's pen, so I'm assuming it's a school pen. I can't get it really tight here, and I don't want to force it, but I am liking this little pen. You know, normally I think of myself as a chunky pen person, but this has been really nice to write with. I didn't write here, but I have Heron by Birmingham Pen Company in this pen. And here it's, to me, looking sort of like a teal color. So to keep it brief, I will just mention the pen or the ink name there. I am assuming this is a fine nib. I've really liked writing with it. I also like this kind of soft bluish gray. I would maybe call it slate gray. I don't know if there is such a color as slate gray, but that's what I would call it. And then just a basic Lamy Safari, the reliable Lamy, which I have no gripes against at all. It's just a good, get it all done, no problem with the flow. It's nice and wet and juicy. This Alexander Hamilton ink is really a wet ink. And when I first bought it, I really loved it. And now I'm thinking my opinion's changing. I still like the color, and I like that it is really gushy and flowy, but it's almost like it's just a little too much. And I feel like my writing often looks sloppy with it. Of course, I'm not taking my time here, but it's just like you don't get the sharpness of the letters as much with it. So I need to find one of my pens that writes more on the dry side. Next, I decided the other day to put the Tailings Pond by Birmingham Pen Company in my Narwhal. This is a primary macchiato color, and it has this nice swirled effect on it. It's hard to show with the glare of the lamp, but there it is there's the numbers there. It's just hard to see. Anyway, it was a limited edition. Kind of bought it on a whim. Let me show you the Tailings Pond. You may have seen this bottle already. It's huge. Let's see. Does it say on here 100 milliliters? I had to have at least one bottle of their ink because it just looks like some neat concoction or chemical or something, and I just think the aesthetic is really fun, and I love this ink so much, and it's working wonderfully in this. As I was saying, though, I bought this on a whim, got it. I didn't love it, but with the right ink in it, I'm very happy that I have this pen now. Takisumi works wonderfully in here. This is maybe a similar color. This Tailings Pond is really nice, and I think it and Takisumi might be similar. You can see on this bigger swatch, it's just, on some paper I feel like it looks like a murky, oily green. Here it maybe just looks kind of oily. It's a really nice dark color, and it flows so smoothly from this pen, and I just enjoy it a lot because sometimes I just want kind of a black leaning pen or ink, and I feel like this does it. And I don't know if you can get any of what I see as a deep Murky is the only word I can think of. Green, but anyway, super recommend that ink. And with this pen, it's been a really nice combination. I think the color is a fun match for that. I guess I'll put these up here as I'm done with them. Let's see, the next is a recent purchase. My friend Elise, new pen friend, sent me a sample of the Hara Hara by Sailor, and she had added some sparkle to it. Really liked it. I thought it was going to be a dry ink, and I feel like maybe it is a little drier on the Regalia, but I really have enjoyed this on my B7 Natural and my Sanzen Tomoe River paper. It has a nice flow to it. Nothing gushy like Alexander Hamilton. Still very, very pleasant. And it's a nice soft purple. I was drawn to this color when I sampled it because of the shading that it offers. And it also is similar to Caran d'Ache Storm, which my friend Kim sent to me a while back, and I really liked that, but that's unavailable. I forgot to write the name here, so let's do that. Put a side-by-side sample. Okay, let's see, where are we? Let's do one here too. This is a soft, I would call grade purple or dusky purple. And then the next color up and next pen is my Opus 88 Coloro. This is I wrote broad here. It's actually a medium nib. I wanted to try a different nib size with the Opus. I love this pen. So the funny thing is, it will tend to hard start every so often. If I have a bump, like where your pages kind of make a little hill, it doesn't like that. And I oftentimes have to restart the flow by coming more straight down, and then I can angle it and it works fine. So it's a little bit persnickety, but I love how it feels. There's a little bit of feedback. This ink and this pen just write perfectly for my taste. Wet and flowy, but not sloppy. And even though it kind of has a mind of its own, I find myself reaching for this often, and I think I have refilled it with the Tex-Mex. I think it might be on its third fill, and I got it for Valentine's Day, so it's been a good match. Okay, now in my Pilot Custom 823, this was my big purchase at the pen show last June, my only pen purchase. Love this. It's a very reliable pen, and it's so smooth. It's working so smoothly on the Regalia, whereas some of my combinations feel dry. This does not. And then on the Cosmo Airlight, this is a similar color to Diamonds Ancient Copper, if you're familiar with that. I like it a lot, but it is so similar. I don't feel like I really needed them both. I bought Pumpkin Cake before sampling it because I wanted something for the fall that had a special fallish name, and so I kind of repeated myself. This is the amber color. I don't know if you can tell. It's looking pretty black as I look through my phone. It is available in a black color as well. And then next is my Benu Euphoria and Armenian Baklava. This is a broad nib. Got this last May, and isn't it just stunning? It's so pretty. So many different kinds of gold shimmer on this. There's larger pieces, softer colors, deeper colors. The ends are so So pretty. My husband gave this to me when we were in Italy as a surprise on Mother's Day. This sample of ink is from my friend Myra. This is a KWZ Cappuccino, and it smells like vanilla. It's very nice, and I really, really like this color a lot. It is similar. I did a color or chromatography. It's very similar to my Burley Wood, which is coming up next. If I remember, I'll show you a chromatography. But it's got great shading. It flows really nicely, and it's a little bit darker than the KWZ Honey. I think I prefer the cappuccino sample over the bottle of honey that I have, but they are comparable. I don't know that I would necessarily need both of them, and I would buy this if I didn't have Burley Wood. Burley Wood is a Birmingham Pen Company ink. I have it in my Jinhao X159, which came in medium, and the color is coffee. And this is such a awesome ink. It flows so well from all the pens I've tried it in so far. It's working great with this. That nib size is absolutely huge, and I love it. I think it's so much fun. I don't even know what size it is. Anyway, really like this combination. I love the broad grip to this. I don't know if you can see, but there is this green element to the ink, which when you rinse it, it looks neon or fluorescent in the water. It's pretty cool, but it is a little sloppy. I need to clean up my pen. It's kind of on the grip there. Thus my fingers turning colors. Such a nice flowing ink, and this kind of shade as the cappuccino is a color I'm very much drawn to. It does have some sheen to it. It's really showing up there, the green. But with regular writing, when it's in not such of a condensed manner, I guess you could say, the sheen shows up periodically. It's not like every letter is overcome by it. It's showing up quite a bit on the Regalia, though. I would say more so than on the Cosmo Air Light. And this one, I don't know if we will have any luck getting any writing out of. This is my Opus 88 in the orange demonstrator. Myra also sent me this color called Candle Day by Krishna, and oh man, it just feels so awesome coming from this pen nib. The color goes on, to me, it seems like a rusty orange. I really like how it goes on. One review I read said it's not quite copper and it's not quite a brilliant orange. It's somewhere in between. I think that's a pretty good description, although it's looking pretty coppery here. It has great shading, and it dries with the shading showing quite well. Of course, it loses a little bit of its brilliance as it dries, but I have found writing with that to be so much fun. That's an ink I have been told is no longer available, so I'm happy that I have been able to sample that. In my Pilot E95S, this is medium, and this is the black color. It looks pretty similar, doesn't it, to the amber? And I forget that this is black sometimes. I mean, it's black, I can see that, but it's so similar. Sometimes and because of the gold on there, sometimes I'm thinking it's another amber one. This is not a hooded nib, but an inlaid nib. This is it's a gold nib. I'm trying to read and I can't quite make it out. My son surprised me with this for Christmas. My youngest son, Drew, and I love it. Let me show you again. Small, it's like a pocket-sized pen, but when you post it, it becomes a full-size pen. It's a thinner, narrower, much narrower than this. And I like these chunky, what people call girthy pens. But this has been a dream to write with. I'm so excited that I have it. I saw one last year at the pen show. I had just bought the 823, and I was just kind of looking around at pens, and this one intrigued me. It was the burgundy and white one. But I thought, well, maybe another time. You know, I didn't want to buy more pens. But so, anyway, it was fun to be surprised with it. So this is the Monteverde Smoke Noir. They have Copper Noir. They have Jade. Is it Jade or Green Noir? Jade Noir, which I love. All sorts of names that I don't know all of that have the black mixed with them. And this just flows so smoothly. This is one I would just call buttery smooth. An expression we hear oftentimes. This would probably be like the closest to that description that I have, with the exception of possibly this one also being the same, both Pilot pens. In my TWSBI Eco Tea and Broad, I have, this is a saffron color. It came out last summer. I have Queenstown Gold Mine by Van Diemen's. Sometimes I like writing with this, and other times I just like filling in my stenciled numbers with it to add some sparkle to the page. I love that it's very rich golden color. The ink by itself, when you're not getting as much shimmer, I would find a little bit too light for my preference. But with this sparkle, this shimmer element, it makes a really amazing ink. And it flows pretty well, really. These are pretty good papers for it. I always wish that you could see this how I do, but the shimmer is really standing out in both of these little swatches. I feel like the shimmer is showing more in this writing than in this writing. Again, you know, you never know. It's all about the paper, pen, ink combination. This I have written dry. This is my Havasupai Falls by Tailored Pen Company. This is the Churchill model. It's a custom-made pen. You can request or choose from their options, and I requested a copper clip to it. It doesn't come with that, but you can get it. I've shown this before, but it's such a beautiful pen. These are just really nice colors. There's varying degrees of this orange, and a brighter, and then more of a deep rust. This bright turquoise also goes into a purple, and even, I want to say gray. It's not really gray, but it's a little more muted where some of the colors blend there. Been very happy with this pen, and the sample that Myra sent me called Spirit by Colorverse is the perfect match for this pen. But I'm out of ink. I used it up today, and I was lucky there to get just a little sampling. Yeah, it is empty. I went to find a bottle of this, and it comes in just the really small little bottles. You can't get a big bottle of it. So when I go to the pen show, hopefully in June, St. Louis, I want to try to find a little bottle. I don't want to buy a little bottle and a big bottle of something completely different. I want this ink, and I don't know why they package it that way. That annoys me a little bit, but I think it's a great match. The other thing, though, I need to say about this is I've come up with a similar color with my Iroshizuku Kujaku and mix that with Noodler's Green Marine, and I get pretty close to this. So for now, I may just work on using those up. But it would be nice to have a bottle, and I just love how this writes. So smooth. Reminds me a lot of the Tex-Mex, both colorburst inks. It's like it's twin, but in green, and that's red. But I can't show you any more there because it's gone. And then last but not least is my Pilot Vanishing Point. This is the blue Carbonesque. I bought it with a broad nib. Now this has been fine. My ideal color would have been that mustard yellow, but it wasn't available. And I really just wanted to try this pen. This clip here, when I first saw this about 4 years ago, I'm like, that's so weird. Who would want that? That looks really uncomfortable and stupid. Now I really like it. So never say never, right? This pen, or this ink, is showing quite a bit of a red sheen that I don't normally notice with it. It's flowing very wetly from this nib. This is also a super smooth pen to write with. The Pilot Blue is, isn't that pretty? You can see the light, but it's just gorgeous. It's a wonderful blue. My favorite blue, I think, is still Ackerman's Deepwater Blue. But this is such a reliable blue. And I don't know why I put it in here instead of Ackerman. I guess I wanted to try the Pilot ink in the Pilot pen, and it's a great match. It's just called Blue. And it's by Pilot. It came with this when I bought it, which is a funny match to me. I think these companies, I don't know, but it seems like they just kind of sell a standard blue, but very reliable. Excellent ink. It would just not be my first go-to color. So that is that, but let's take a quick peek at some of the comparisons. Currently inked, that's what I have going. When I got the wonderful Spirit from Myra, I wanted to compare it with other teals and turquoises that I had. So this, I think that really is the best match. The closest, other than my homemade combination. And as you can see, there's such a wide variation in what would be called or considered a turquoise. Green leaning, here's a mint turquoise. I thought this was going to be good because the other Diatramentus is so wet. I thought this one would be, and it's dry, and I don't like it too much. Then I just wanted to show you these. We were talking about how KWZ Honey and Birmingham Pen Company Burleywood is so similar. These are all so similar. But you can see, well, this is funny because Cappuccino and Honey, I mentioned that they were similar. Look how similar they really are. Just more brown here and slightly more golden here. And you can see just that little more yellow element in the Honey than is in the Cappuccino. So in my opinion, one would not need both of those. I do have a bottle of this. I don't like writing with it as much as I liked Golden Wheat. And then I got Burleywood, and I have to say, I think of these shades here, I'm preferring the Burleywood over my Honey and even over the Tasha Golden Wheat. And they actually look quite different, don't they, when you see them together? This has got that little bit of sheen there. This is a nice basic brown. It's lovely to write with. But there's something about the shading of this and the wetness that's so amazing. This is the Endless Regalia, and then on this side, I have the B7 Natural. And I really didn't get too much difference other than the Tasha Golden Wheat looking a little more brown than it does here. And then I thought, okay, I need to see how Noodler's Rome compares. Quite a bit different. So they're really not similar. The basic color maybe on paper, obviously kind of in the same family, but this actually has this nice gold sheen, but I don't like the writing color as much. Again, paper, pen, whatever you have it in, whatever you're writing on, it varies. On this, I didn't like it so much. And then I thought it was funny that the burley wood and, let's see, I was thinking, yeah, that burley wood and cappuccino from KWZ looked so similar, but their chromatographies are much different. There's all that taupey grayed color there. And I mean, it's pretty much non-existent here. Maybe just a haze of it there. It's always fun, and just that yellow in there, that's funny to me. Let's see, there was another, oh yes, talking about the Colorverse Spirit and my, what I call Jacu Marine. They even both have this red sheen. I like that the Spirit is just a little bit lighter colored. And I loved the flow of it. So if I can find a decent sized bottle of it at the pen show that isn't paired with something I don't want, I would definitely get it. But it's not a problem to mix up these inks. I have so much of them, I might as well, right? You know, it's kind of what I think, but the convenience of it pre-mixed would be nice. I thought that perhaps Smoke Noir and Takisumi were similar, so I wanted to swatch them. And Smoke is definitely, can you see that? It looks like it's got a little bit of a sheen, sort of like the, let me find it. How this Noodlers has kind of a sheen to it, like a shine. Seems to me that the Smoke Noir has a little bit of that in its own way. So there you have my currently inked and a couple science experiments in chromatography that I love doing. So much fun to see how those colors emerge and show off different qualities. Thank you for watching. Take care, and we'll see you again soon.